So hello guys to our new day of the 21 days interview challenge with the React, and today we are going to do interview preparation with the some topic and related to React only, and the topic is state and the lifecycle method. So without wasting time, let's begin with the first round. Okay, so let me introduce the how many rounds we have. We have only three rounds. First two are theoretical, and third is a gives the output. So let's start with the Kritika. So Kritika, your question is what is state in React?
So state which we are using inside the component, it is used for to update any changes which is happening inside the component, like an internal data updated. For that purpose we are using a state. State contains with the array like a constant state and set state. Inside the array we have to give a two variable like a name, and we have to use equal to use state, and inside the use state we can give any kinds of like a string, arrays, or any values over there. This is the form of using a state, and it is very useful to whenever the data gets changes and that it gets updated. Whenever we are getting re-render, it will automatically going towards the state. When we click on the, that is when we using the set state will update the changes and post it into the state component. So state variable. So it will give the what is the current value of the data. This is how we use in the state in React.
Okay, nice example. It means you know all about this state, and also you have a giver use state hook example. Nice. So just to let me clear you. So state is a built-in React object that holds component specific data that may change over time, and it used to manage the dynamic nature of the component. Okay, so well answer. Okay, so now it's turn of Supriya. So Supriya, your question is what is the difference between props and state?
Okay, so props and states are two properties of React. Simply, props means the properties whichever you create for the components which you have created in your React. For example, what can I tell you? Suppose you are creating curly braces inside React component and you want to give some properties to it, then it is known as props. And states, as Kritika already mentioned, states tell you something which is constantly changing in your page, and you want to keep a track on that particular thing. That is known as states. States takes two parameters. You can store it in any variable, but we refer const variable to make the value constant throughout the page. So const, inside the square brackets we write suppose state, and second one we write set state. Then definitely set states will track all the changes which are being made in the pages, and state will restore the latest value and it will display that value to your page. And then you just write use state, and inside it you initialize it with any value. It really depends on your page. It can be empty object, it can be empty array, it can be zero or anything. So yeah, this is state and props.
One thing, please can you explain again props what you have explained
Yeah,
about props?
prop, props are the properties of components. Yeah.
So is this your answer?
Yeah, I know this much only about props.
Okay, so my answer was what is the difference between props and state? You know the state very well. So let me tell you what is the props. Props are used to pass data from parent component to child component, and wherever the state is used to manage component specific data that may change over time. So you know state very well, but you are stuck in props only because props are like a data which we need, which by using props only we can send it to means transfer to parents child or child component. Okay, so now
Oh,
it's turn off Amit. So Amit, your question is what are the key difference in handling state between class based component or functional based component?
Okay, key differences in handling. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So what are the key difference in handling state between class based components and functional based component? Because in class based component there are like a different way to handle the states, and in functional components there are different way to handle states. So the difference, what are the difference here? So you need to explain this.
Okay, yeah. So as far as my knowledge is concerned, in class-based components, there are different functions that we got pre-built. Like there are stages. There are 3 stages, like before mounting and mounting phase, updating phase, and unmounting phase. So those there are different functions in class-based components. By using that, we can basically manipulate the state of any component inside the component, and that state can be changed in different stages, like before updating, after updating, or during the updation. But in functional based component, we have hooks like use state hook or anything similar to that, through which we can change the state during any phase, just like class based component. But this is little different, because here there is no phases. We can actually manipulate the state of any component throughout its life cycle.
Okay, nice. So you are right. You said in via method we can handle the event, and there is one more thing in class-based components that is managed using the dot set, and also the if you want to update that, so we can use this dot set, and otherwise everything is right from the side. Okay, so next participant is Karan. So Karan, your question is, what is React and what is the JSX?
Okay. So basically React is a library for the JavaScript only. So with the help of React, we can minimize the code. With the help of React, we can also write HTML inside the JavaScript only. It allows us about JSX. So JSX is a format in which we can, with the help of which we can write HTML, proper HTML inside the JavaScript only. And how can we use JSX in React? So for using JSX in React, there's a software known as 𝗶𝗶. By using 𝗶𝗶, we can it helps us to convert the JSX format into a JavaScript so that a browser can understand that. So that is React, and how can we use
Okay, nice. You are
JSX.
explained good. The React is the JavaScript library, and we are using JSX. We can write HTML inside the JS function. So by this, we have a complete our first round. Now let's go to second round. So start with again Kritika. So Kritika, your question is, how can we handle lifecycle method in functional components? So let's start answering.
Okay. So in functional component, that life cycle has 3 stages, that is mount, update, and unmount. Then mount is a stage when we get render the data the component of the data, it will get rendered in a UI as a first time. That is the mount space. And second is the update space. In update space, whenever it gets updated, there is any changes in the data, it will get updated. So that page we are using as a updated page. And unmount is a cleanup space, cleaning up the data. That is when we clearing the component. That is the value of the everything is over with the component. In that criteria, we are using the unmount space. These are the 3 spaces we are using over here. So usually we use effect for this handling this 3 stages, the life cycle of the functional component, to avoid any side effects during when we fetching data from the external link. For that purpose only we are using this use effect to avoid the side effect, and getting in that only we are getting all these stages of a basis in a functional component. Thank you.
Yeah, you are definitely right. We use the use effect hook for handling the all lifecycle methods in functional based component. Okay, now it's turn of Supriya. So Supriya, your question is, how do you use the use state hook to mimic component did mount in a functional component?
Sorry, I didn't got your question.
Means how do you use the use effect hook to mimic component did mount in a functional component?
Okay, use effect. Okay. So use effect is basically used to show your component to the browser until unless you pass use effect. Use effect is a function or anything. I just forgot.
Is a hook. Use effect is a hook.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Until unless you use that use effect hook, it will not render the data to your web page. Firstly, what you do is you use state or anything. You fetch the data, and then whatever data you want to visit, you want to see that data to your web browser, you use effect. Use effect hook simply allows you to take a callback function, and inside it you uh, you just take it empty array as a default function or anything, because by default you take it empty array because most of the data is already formed in empty only, empty array, sorry, it is in form of array only. So that's why you just take it array, and then it that array takes all that data and shows you in the web browser. You can just look at the data in the console. Yeah, that's how you use effect.
Okay, so yeah, correct. We can use the use effect hook to with an empty dependency array to mimic the behavior of component did mount. Okay, so now next participant is Amit. Amit, your question is how can we handle all lifecycle method via use effect in functional component?
Okay, so using use effect. So use effect is a hook in React that by using which we can actually control the data or state of any component in any phases. So what do usually it happens is whenever we use effect with empty dependency array, then the whatever we have written inside that, like whatever logic, whatever state management logic, then those things will happen, or we can say those things are executed only after the first render. So that is the like after mounting of any component onto the DOM, the first those things will happen. So that is mounting phase. And then if we have any data that is going to change over the time during the life cycle of that component, then if we put that data, if we put that keywords inside that array, inside that dependency array, then that is your second stage, which is updating phase. And in that updating phase, whenever the value of that data is changing, then the use effect callback function will execute every time the data changes. Every time that use effect function will get executed, and that is how you can manipulate the data in the updating phase. And in the unmounting phase, whenever unmounting phase is that phase whenever your component is basically unmounted from your UI. So we can actually write a logic for that also. So in whatever logic we write inside callback function, so whenever the component is actually unmounted from the UI, like whenever it is removed from the DOM, then those logic will gonna happen. And this is basically used for cleanup purposes, like you want to cancel the network request, or you want to do all the timers, like if you have any timers or any set timeouts running parallelly, so you can remove all those things in the unmounted phase. So these are three stages, and this is how you can use spec in these three phases.
Okay, nice correct answer. So we are using like a empty array for component is mount, and after if we want to update the particular update the our lifecycle method, so we use a dependency array. Inside that we can pass the any state, and after that we when we return anything inside the use spec, it will be like we have like a cleanup code, and by using we can unmount our component. Okay, nice. Now it's not current. So current, you tell me about the what are components and what of the use cases of components in React.
Components. I don't know about it. Sorry.
Okay, no worry. So let me tell. Okay, so your second question is another question is what is ES6 module?
Okay. So ES6, the full form of ES6 is 𝗏𝗃6. So it is introduced in 2015. So developers introduce ES6 so that there are some new technologies which we can use with the help of ES6. Like we can make a JavaScript asynchronous also with the help of ES6. There are many methods which are introduced in it. For example, there are many methods like let and const are introduced in ES6. So there are many things which we can use with like we can do with ES6 to minimize the code structure. Okay. So it is basically introduced for that only. For there are many things like there are arrow functions, there are let const, there are many things which are introduced in ES6. So it is simply used for minimizing the code structure.
What is import export?
Okay, import export. So whenever we make any HTML or JS file, so we give many functions, okay, in different files. So for copy, like it will maximize the code if we copy it everywhere. So that's why we use import and export, so that we can use that function which we use in a JS file to another JS file. So that's why we use import and export to just import or export those functions or those tags or anything we want to export.
Okay, so when we need to use any function and other for another thing, so
Yeah,
we just import and
just
export
export.
use
Yeah.
that. Okay, so and okay, now it's turn off. By using this, we have done our 2 rounds. Now it's turn off third round, and that is get the output round. So let me tell you screen and okay, so okay, so let me tell you screen and let's start the our third round. Okay, so can you confirm me my screen is visible or not?
Yes, it's
Yes,
visible.
yes, it's visible.
Okay, so first is Karan. So Karan, this is your question and you have a 2 minutes to solve it. Okay, so take your time and solve it.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
in
Karan,
this,
tell
yeah,
me
yeah.
your approach.
So in this question, what we are doing, we are simply export. So there are two ways to export any file. We can simply use export default or export with name, and we can also just write export in front of that function that we want to export. So there are several ways to export any file. So here we are exporting two functions. In first function, we are just adding two variables, and in second function, we are subtracting it. And here we just call it. Okay, then we are consoling that function. We are using that function. We are calling that function. So first of all, we are adding. So for add for 3 and plus 4, so it will be 7 for first console. Then second console, we are subtracting, so it will be 5. So that's my answer.
Okay, so let's show you your answer is okay. Your answer is correct. It is very simple, but this export dot default and this thing may be stuck
Yeah,
you maybe stuck you somewhere, but it is
but I
very
know about
simple.
that.
Yes, I am just exporting two functions and I am just catch via this method days.
Yeah,
And
right.
after that, I am controlling the two via passing the arguments or parameters. Okay, so simply 3 or 4, 5 and 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay, 3 or 4,
Yeah.
7 and 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay, so your round is okay done. Now it's turn of Kritika. So Kritika, this is your question. We have a 2 minutes to solve it. Okay, so your time starts now. Okay, so Kritika, tell me approach.
So here I'm using a my component function. Inside that I have a count and set count, and default value of a count you state that count is a 0. So my return will be the count, that is in paragraph tag count count hyphen will be there, and there is a count initial state of a count is a 0. Whenever I click the button increment, it will go on increase one by one. It will increase from 0 to 1. Again when I click, it will increase to increment to 2. Again if I click, it is go on till 3 4 till that. So it is the function over here. This is output of this.
Okay, so this is just the increment function. I have a set here use state and via use state I am setting the I via set count I am just updating count on the click of the button. Okay, so yeah, you are right. Now is the next is Supriya. So Supriya, uh, this is your question and you have a 2 minutes to solve it and your time starts now. Okay, so Supriya, tell me approach how you solve it.
Okay, so here we are using use state. So use state's initialize value is 0, but however we are setting a function set count on count, that whenever we will click on increment button, it will just give us count and count every time. Yeah. So
Every time count means what is the output here? What we are expecting here?
here it will be count only, na?
In
Are you
history,
sure? You
she
are
said.
are you
We are
sure?
initializing with 0 and then we are clicking on count, so definitely it will.
Count
But
word, yeah. Which what the output? Do I give you some more time?
no, actually I don't have the proper idea. Then please explain.
Okay, so here I am just use the use state hook, and I am pass here when user and someone click on the button. So here set count is not setting like anything else. What in previous in Kritika case it will increase by one, but here it is not increase. Here always it give us zero and zero only. However, time we are clicking on the button, give us only zero and zero because we are on clicking the this button we are setting zero only to set count only, so it will the value of the count always be zero only. So this is the expected answer from you. What? Okay, so now it's turn of the Amit. So Amit, your question is this, and you have a 2 minutes to solve it. Your time is start now. So Amit, tell
Yeah,
me your
so
question.
we have so we have component, and we are initiating count and set count using use state. Initial value is 0, and here in the JSX we have one count, and we are passing count variables. So initially the count will be 0, and we have one button over which we have this on click event handler, and this handle click function is written here. So inside handle click we are setting the count. Firstly, we are setting the count to count plus 1. So initially, whenever we press the button, it will set the count to count plus 1, which is 1. And then again, we are setting the count to count plus 1. So I guess it will increment the count 2 times, and we will get 2 on first on one click.
Oh, so this is the final answer.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so alas, but it is not right answer because however time we are doing here like on only one click we are do like how many time we do just like set count plus one count plus one, but when we click on the button only one time it will increase the count only one time only. However, I am writing 100 time count set count and count plus one, but it will increase only one time because this is a rule. Clicking increment button will only increase the value of the count by one because the state updates are not batched. So it will increase the count only one time. Or one time click it will one. After second time it will two. So this is the expected answer. What I
Yeah,
want.
got it. Yes.
Yeah. So by this we have done our all round and the day of the today. So I hope you all guys enjoying our video, and thank you for stay till end. Okay, so bye bye and stay tuned and follow us on a LinkedIn also. Bye bye.
Bye bye guys. Bye bye.